As this last week has a theme, well, the last couple weeks, food trucks, which today is Pi 95. That is a wood-fired oven in the back of a trailer that's a food truck, which I think is amazing. I'm having the margarita pizza today. It was their recommendation. It was $12 with a drink. They've been around Jacksonville for a little while now, and I saw they were going to be somewhere else earlier in the week, and I didn't go to them. They're here where I work today. Had to come try them out for lunch. And once we get our food, we'll get back with you and let you know how it is. Service. I mean, within 3 or 4 minutes, I've got my pie. Maybe a little longer than that because I did have to bake it in an oven, but just amazingly fast service. Love it. Probably some of the quickest food truck service I've gotten in a while. So upstairs we go to nosh on the pizza. Wood-fired deliciousness. Letting it cool for a second and then gonna nosh on it all. So, yesterday I found a new camera angle I wanted to try, and I haven't really tried it till today. That pizza, by the way, was really tasty. I think that keeping a small menu, it's aggravating when you're in traffic and you're starting to go and people cut you off without a blinker. But we're not gonna get into that. That pizza was delicious. But I wanted to try this location because my phone kind of sits on both the dash and the door, which makes it more stable, and I'm not seeing the camera shake I had. But that's also what you get for a $5 mount. Like I said, it would be great for like GPS. If you're not filming, it's an okay mount. If you're filming, you need something a little bit more stable, or you want something more stable. Simply so the camera's not shaking, simply so that you can mount it somewhere, like not get the camera shake. It's one thing to get like vehicle shake because of the road, or vehicle shake because something's going on, but when you're just going down a relatively not bumpy road, and granted, I know all roads have some texture, some grade, they're gonna bounce, your camera's gonna jiggle, but it just seemed like this mount and the front windshield would exacerbate that. So I've got a little square, well, it's not really square, but a little piece of glass that's in front of my window that doesn't go down when the window goes down, and that's where I put the mount in. It also makes it a lot easier to touch my phone at this location. It's out of the way. It's not really blocking my line of sight. I can kind of control my podcast a little easier from it, as well as my music. And it's right here. It's within arm's reach. Up at the other side, I was stretching for that last little bit. And if you're stretching, you're not able to pay attention to the road as much. Whereas here, I can go ahead and set it up, and it gives me those controls a little quicker. And I'm still kind of working on some issues and some thoughts about how I can make this work better. My old phone, I had some stuff set up that, like Tasker, but that was a couple years ago, and I haven't really reset it up. But it's also one of those I haven't really had the complaints that I had that I set up Tasker for to begin with. Which, Tasker's great because you can actually do like time-based switch off, location-based switch offs. So I could always make it to where, hey, when you get to home, you connect to this wireless access point, just unlock the phone. And it's mainly because I lock my phone when I'm away from the house. I even lock the phone at the house most of the time just for the security of it. I don't like having my phone unlocked. It's not even like an anti-wife thing, I have a child. I don't want her getting on my phone and ordering something off Amazon or getting on the internet. I don't want, I'm not a big fan of being able to go somewhere, pick up a phone, and make a phone call to anywhere, or to pick up someone else's phone and just have full access. It's not cool. So I take that security and that privacy in my own hands and lock my phone. But we're on our way home, got to run a few errands. Thought I'd put this a little bit together while I was riding home, and I'd check out the camera angle, check out the shake on it, and kind of give you an update on some things. I was looking at the ad revenue on YouTube. Evidently, like the last couple of days, since the Westman Fire video went up, it's been on fire for my channel. My wife and I have actually talked about doing an experiment in a couple weeks because we've got to kind of figure out some things with it. But doing a local news kind of, not really an affiliate, but taking stories from St. Augustine and building a news, I don't want to say outlet, I don't want to say a channel, I don't want to say a company for it. What we're trying, we don't think St. Augustine locally is served well enough, and media. I mean, there's a lot that goes on in this town. There's a lot of small businesses, there's a lot of tourism attractions, there's a lot of, this weekend there's a place called Francis Field in St. Augustine. They're doing a Harry Potter event. Now, I know regionally this will bring a lot of Potterheads. I think that's their name. Potter fans? I don't know. But that's really cool that St. Augustine has this. Mumford & Sons came to St. Augustine. And while these big events will get sometimes national attention, mainly it's just regional attention with Jacksonville and Orlando and the bigger cities around us, it's blurbs in the papers. It's, this happened in St. Augustine today, and it's none of the good stuff. It's the bad news stories. Sometimes it's hey, happening in this weekend. But we want to focus more on the small things. And I think we also need to focus what our niche will be in those small things. Because, yes, you could do a full-on news outlet here's what's happening today in St. Augustine, death, murder, destruction, cool events happening this weekend. Or there's a publication out west called Silicon Prairie News. Now, I found these people through someone I used to communicate with a lot more, and we still keep up a little bit, but not as much. His name's T-Ray. If you just got married, congratulations. Maybe you'll see this. I'm going to tell you about this video because I'm talking about you in it. But he had talked about them a few years back, and it was really cool because that publication, what they do is talk about startup culture and startup life within what they call the Silicon Prairie, or the central U.S. It's really around Kansas, Idaho, and all that area, and I'm probably missing my geography a ton. I apologize to anybody who lives in Kansas, Missouri, all that area, because I know you know a lot more about the area than I do. But when I started reading that, I had these same thoughts of doing an Old Coast or the Space Coast. Well, Space Coast is slightly further south than where I'm at, but what the thought was an area of this region, this northeast region, or even the southeast region of the U.S., and doing something more along the lines of looking at startups, looking at tech companies that are building their businesses here in Florida or in the southeast U.S. I think that it's beneficial, but it's how is this beneficial to more people? What is the target audience of all this? And then on top of that, it's what format are we going to use? Is it short form written content? Is it mid form video content of 5 to 10 minutes daily? What is our target demographic that we're trying to reach? I'm very much about reaching out to men and women on any channel. I'd rather not be just a male talking head. I would like to see a female's viewpoint on these things. Furthermore, once we figure out what we're going to do, it's in the formatting, we need to figure out how we're going to put it together, because a news broadcast has a set way of how it goes about. A church service, which most people will realize after some period of time, is a show. It goes on in a certain order. They call it the order of service, but it's a show. It's a production. It is, these things happen at this time. This is what we do. I know this because I work graphics tech at my church. They're going to be on schedule soon, which reminds me, I got to email them about my date. But it's really interesting to learn these things and to see how it all goes together. But knowing how these shows and productions are put together, knowing I've got people who work who've worked at TPC Sawgrass and in the whole like World of Golf Hall of Fame, that area, that production company, that they've worked there. They have these package ideas that they can put together. Well, I can reach out to them, figure out how they do those things. But most shows follow some structured format. And a lot of them, it's because like the Federal Communications Commission tells them that they have to have station break IDs and things like that. So they know that, okay, well, we want to do these things here. We've got 15 minutes to fill this spot, and we'll do X, Y, and Z. And then we'll do 2 prepackaged programs, which are 3 minutes apiece, and they'll shove here and here. Some of that is being figured out. A lot of that's being figured out. Some of it's, that's a lot of pre-production work. It's the pre-production work of any production, is getting together scripts, which I know we're going to have to do more pointed scripts with a production like a news program or an informational broadcast of some topic. I'm putting together some scripts for Predator Week, which will happen sometime in June. Actually, it's going to happen the last week of June, which is right there by Shark Week. Just because I think it's going to be funny to overlap the two. And then in June or July, we'll be doing Bad Space Camp videos, because that's when a lot of churches in the area and a lot of churches in general will be doing their Galactic Starveyors. So I've got to figure out how I want to do some of that shooting, because not all of it is just bad spaceships. Some of it is actually building of like kit bash. I have some ideas that I'm going to kit bash a couple of spaceships together, and it's getting all of that recorded, because it's going to be a production piece on that. It will be several minutes long. So it's figuring out, here's the constraints I have, here's what I'm building, and just start recording, putting the parts together, record the priming of the model, record the finishing of the model. Because really, the things that make models come to life, be it minis or kit bash or whatever, is not necessarily the painting, it's the weathering, giving it the story. What's this thing been through? Maybe it has some battle damage. Well, you can put that battle damage in first, but it's how you paint it and make it look better and weather it so it shows age and life and death and destruction. So that'll definitely be coming up. Those I think are going to be a little bit longer productions, because I need to shoot over multiple days, and I find that when I have to shoot over multiple days with things, it's better to just make it a production that I actually record on another camera, burn out to my laptop, and then edit there as well. So I think that's what we're going to call it for the day. This ride home piece is a little longer than I expected it to be, but I rambled. We talked about a couple of things, and then I've got some cuts to make, so that'll probably cut a couple minutes out of it as well. But if you liked what you saw today, please comment, comment, and subscribe to the video or the channel, and please share out anything that you think is great of my content. It really helps me. Comments will help, guide conversations, and that's really what I'm trying to start with some of these, is just a conversation. If you have any suggestions for something in the publication of... Wow, everything slowed down. If you have any ideas or comments regarding publication of, another outlet that I'm thinking about, like I was talking about, definitely let me know below, and let's start the conversation. We will talk with you later.